we don't talk about is on this page. Like, your intrusive thoughts are out of your head and in this book. I've said this before, but I mean this right now, and I don't see how this could ever be beat. This is the most fucked up book I have ever read in my entire life, and I gave it 5 stars. Everyone who reads this book now has a shared trauma of reading this book. It's that messed up. What's up, everyone? My name is Zach, and welcome back to my channel. In today's episode, I'm going to be bringing you guys episode 6 of What the Did I Just Read? Alright, so at the beginning of every episode of this series, I like to try to recap about everything that I've read so far. So if you're new to the series, you're not missing anything. I mean, you're missing episodes of videos that I'm going to tell you about, but you can jump in at any time. These don't have anything to do with each other except for different reading experiences. So alright, so the first book that I read for season 2 was called The Reformatory. Very good book, gave it 5 stars, watched the video, lots of trigger warnings, very important book. The next book I read was My Darling Girl, gave it 1 star, really did not like that book. Yeah, enough said, just didn't really like it. Yeah, anyways. Okay, and then moving along, the third book, I Am Cheating. Usually I try to do this by memory, but 6 books in, cannot remember every single one of them. Then I read The Heiress by Rachel Hawkins. I loved this book. I gave it 5 stars. It was very unexpected. I didn't think I would like that book very much, and then I ended up really loving it. And then I read Midnight on Beacon Street. This ended up being a new favorite book of mine. Definitely recommend checking out that video. I loved that book a lot. It's just releasing in the US. Like, by the time you're seeing this video, it would have been out for about 2 weeks. So I would definitely recommend you give it a try. And then the last book that I read before today's episode is called This Wretched Valley. It was a really, really gruesome body horror. Probably the most horror book that I've read since I started doing What the Bleep. And I gave it 5 stars, but there were some scenes where I was literally like, I'm actually gonna gag. Blew me away. Okay, so now to today's episode, which I am going to be reading Maeve Fly. So that's the book I'm going to be reading for episode 6. I don't know anything about this book. The reason I picked it up is because I was watching one of Katie Colson's videos, and some of the stuff that she said, I was like, if I don't read this for What the Bleep, I don't know what I'm doing. She said she can never think of Frozen the same. She can never look at a curling iron the same. I'm wondering if this episode of What the Bleep is going to need its own viewer discretion is advised, because apparently this is a really, really messed up book. I don't know anything about it. I don't know what it's about. I don't have a clue. So we're going to find out together. I'm going to read you guys the little inside flap, and we're going to learn what this book is about together. It says, by day, Maeve Fly works at the happiest place in the world as every child's favorite ice princess. Okay, that's where the Frozen thing is coming in. By the neon glow of the Sunset Strip, Maeve haunts the dive bars with a drink in one hand and a book in the other, intimidating her manistropic literary heroes. Manistropic? I feel like I should know that word. That's the What the Bleep here. Anyway, but when Gideon Green, her best friend's brother, moves to town, he awakens something dangerous within her, and the world she knows suddenly shifts beneath her feet. Untethered, Maeve ditches her discounted act and tries on a new persona. Oh, that's exciting. A bolder, bloodier one, inspired by the pages of American Psycho, which I have not read, but now I want to. Step aside, Patrick Bateman. It's Maeve's turn with the knife. Oh my god, I love that. Maeve Fly is a proactive and unforgettable debut that is both a blood-soaked love letter to LA and a gleeful send-up of iconic horror villains. I did not know that. Okay, I'm very, very excited for this. Part of me wants to read and or watch American Psycho, but maybe I'll do that after this because I really want to read this now. Like, I'm really looking forward to it. I've been reading a lot of murder mysteries and stuff like that, and I really just need something that's like kind of outlandish, which is so new for me. Usually I hate outlandish things, but What the Bleep has really opened my eyes to a lot of things that I would have never picked up, and I'm so excited. So, because this is not an early release, this book is already out, I will be able to quote things and that sort of thing. So I'm going to pull out some quotes from here that are kind of crazy. This will be no spoilers in this, but yeah, I'm really, really excited. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to give it to future me now. Bye. Hi friends, so it is after work and I wanted to update you guys. I said it's after work because my hair is a mess. I just got out of the shower. It's not cooperating, but it's fine. And I wanted to update you guys. I'm officially halfway through Maeve Fly. So you can see I've been tabbing the heck out of this book. I have to say, I'm really loving it. So let me tell you a little bit more about what it's about, or lack thereof. So one thing you should know about this book is that there's not really a plot. So I heard someone else describing this book recently, Books of Lala, as a female serial killer book. I actually didn't even know that. And I tell you guys that not as a spoiler, because she hadn't even read the book when she described it that way. I guess it's how the book's being described. And I will say that that is true. And those elements are very subtle. And I love that. I've said this a lot. And this would compare to This Wretched Valley, but this is very close to being one of the most what the bleep books I've read yet. A lot of these tabs are like really up passages, and I just think you guys need to know that before you pick up this book. There is some body horror in it, and then there's just some really messed up circumstances that our main character puts herself in and at times chooses to do. Yeah, so you should know that there's some really messed up things in this book. And I don't know what's wrong with me, but I'm like, going into this video, I really wanted something messed up, and I think I'm gonna end up giving this 5 stars. Like, that's my prediction halfway through. Now, more about some of the themes in this book. So this book really is a book about grief. Like, this is a story about grief. Yes, a female serial killer. It's also a very feminist story, and she talks a lot about how, like, in society, men like never need a reason to be crazy or like a psychopath, but for women, it's expected that there's a reason why, and it's like said in this book that there's not a reason why she's doing these things. My camera is being really weird right now, so I'm sorry if it's like going out of focus and things like that. But yeah, so it really is a story about grief. Like, that is what I've taken out of this, the first half of it. There's also, like, it takes place in LA, and LA as a city is almost a character itself. And had you told me that going into this book, I'd been like, I could care less about that. But somehow this author has made me care about things that I would have never cared about. There are so many what the bleep moments in this book. Like, if you're watching this video series because you want to find what the bleep books, this book, Maeve Fly, and This Wretched Valley, and The Reformatory are probably the most what the bleep, as in like horror and hard to read books because they're very disturbing, that I've read in this season. I would say if that's why you're here, then those are the books that you need to check out. Okay. Yeah, so I also have been writing like things down on my phone to make sure, like, as usual, to make sure I inform you guys. The writing is really good. You wouldn't expect, well, I don't know, maybe I'm biased and stereotyping here, but I wouldn't always think to pick up a horror book and the writing be like really eloquent. This book, the writing is top tier. Like, you can tell that this author is very intelligent, and it comes across on the page without being like pretentious or taking away from the story. Like, sometimes books that have really elegant writing, it can take away from the story because you're like, have to read the sentence 8 times to figure out what the person's trying to say. But that isn't the case for this. It's just really well written. I say that it's really out there, it's really grotesque, but with a purpose. Like, there is a lot of vulgar scenes, there's a lot of just really messed up stuff, but it's not for the sake of making you cringe or be disturbed. It has something to say. Like, everything that this character does that's messed up, there's a point to it, and it has something to say. There's also like creepy doll scenes. Like, there's this doll that she keeps passing by that she thinks is like haunting her, and I really just love that. It's really creepy, and I didn't expect it, and I love it. Yeah, there's some earthquakes that happen, and so, you know, at the start I read the synopsis and we find out that we're gonna meet a brother and he's gonna like change her life. And I heard in 2 other reviews, Katie Coulson and Books of Lala, that they loved the relationship in this book, and I have to say I do too. Both Katie Coulson and Books of Lala said they don't know what that says about them, and I'll have to add, I don't know what that says about me, but I think it's because it's written so well that you can't help but love it. It's like a book that you're like, I should not be enjoying this. Like, no sane person should enjoy this. But I think what the author does so well is writes about the parts of humanity that we don't talk about. Like, the things that all of our brains have intrusive thoughts about sometimes that we don't talk about is on this page. Like, your intrusive thoughts are out of your head and in this book. You definitely want to be in the mood for this. You don't want to pick this up unless you're wanting all the things that I have described so far. And it's also kind of a really fucked up Frozen retelling with grief. I said a line here. This is a Frozen retelling. Just add some grief. That's kind of describes this book so far. So yeah, 50% in. I'm absolutely obsessed with it. I don't think that I'm supposed to be, but I am. Let me see if I can find some spoiler-free lines to read you guys. Oh my gosh, yeah, that's really messed up, but I can't read you guys that. Oh yeah. And also, it's very clear that we are not... This character didn't have a life, and then the story started, and then all of a sudden these things start happening. Everything is very subtle, and you can tell that like her life's been happening, and we're just joining up at this really difficult part in her life. But like, this story isn't making her. She was already her in the way that she is. Let's see. I'm trying to find spoiler-free stuff, so I need to go close to the beginning. Oh my gosh. The main character also does this really funny thing where she trolls like Karens on social media. Those parts are hilarious and I love them, and they're so messed up. Let's see. Yeah, so here's like a line on like life. So I'll read you what this says. There are no spoilers in this. There are no spoilers in life. If you are observant and pragmatic, the endings of all things are easily predictable. In the most basic terms, human life is always punctuated with death. It does not cheapen the build-up to know it. There are many winding paths to an inevitable end, and there is so much beauty and pain in the watching. So basically, like, we're all just watching our lives happen. I mean, we can partake in our lives, right? But we're all sort of just watching this thing happen. And like, as she says, there's so much beauty in that watching. There's a line in here that I really related with. Actually, two of them on the same page. One of them says, "My grandmother doesn't speak to me anymore, but she is here. And that is the core of it. She is everything." Her grandmother is very sick. That's where the grief is coming in. You find that out. Like, this is page 17. Also on page 17, something else I related with a lot. I don't have to face it yet. And in the meantime, there is so much pleasure in routine. I am a man who loves some routine. Oh, and here I'll leave you guys with this quote before I go off and finish the book. It says, "Liz is in every way, above all else, the worst and most basic thing that anyone can choose to be, a victim." And my little annotation here says, "Why isn't this on social media?" Oh, you guys can't probably really see that. But yeah, this is just, it's such a good book. I thought I was going to go into this and either not be able to finish it or be like messed up. But whereas there are a lot of really messed up scenes, I'm getting a lot out of this book, and I would have never thought that. That's the beauty in horror. My eyes in the last year have really been opened to horror, and I've learned that there's so much good commentary, and it's just amazing. I'm loving it. So I hope that maybe I've convinced you to pick up this book, but finish this video first to find out if I actually liked the last half of it, because I'm only halfway through again, and not a lot is happening. It's kind of just her slice of life, which is something I have hated forever. But I love this. This is a book that has no plot, but is still absolutely amazing. Okay, I'm gonna go finish the book now because I don't really want to wait any longer. So I'll update you guys at the end. Bye. Okay, hey guys, I have reached the end of this book. I'm coming to update you guys. I have finished this. This What the Bleep series has really challenged me to read books outside of my comfort zone, and the episodes just keep getting more and more unhinged. And I have a feeling as I go back to do What the Bleep retro, they're just gonna get more unhinged. I will say, and I know that I've said this before, but I mean this right now, and I don't see how this could ever be beat. This is the most fucked up book I have ever read in my entire life, and I gave it 5 stars. This book is so fucked up. Like, I cannot even describe to you how fucked up it is. Everyone who reads this book now has a shared trauma of reading this book. It's that messed up. I would love to talk to you about it on Discord if you want to message me if you've read the book. I will never be able to unsee the things that I saw in this book, and I gave it 5 stars. There are horror books that are like awful, violent. There's a lot of body horror in this too. I need to mention that. But also trigger warnings, like I can't even begin to start the trigger warnings. Either look them up or go in knowing that every single trigger that you could possibly have is going to be triggered in this book. Anyway, but because all those things are happening, and in some horror books, they just do that to do that. This book does everything with a purpose and a meaning, and that's why I gave it 5 stars. Even though this is a really messed up book and will probably haunt me forever, it had a lot to say, and I actually really liked this main character. She was real and authentic and a psychopath and very disturbed, but there was a lot of things in her life that had happened that were really sad. And although the author says that she is not a response to the things that have happened, like women do not need a reason to be unhinged, neither as like men aren't expected to have a reason. But I will say, like, there are some things that have happened to her that are very sad. That is not the reason for these things, but there is a lot of grief. There are a lot of really sad things that happen in this book. I need someone to talk to about this. My friend Chloe read this as well with me, and we chatted about it. The more people that read this and talk to me about it, the better I'll feel, because then like we can trauma bond. And I hate that word. I hate that word. But this is like, as a therapist, I really hate that word. But anyone who reads this truly now has a shared trauma, which is experiencing this book. The most unhinged thing I've ever read in my entire life. And I'm glad I read it. This What the Bleep series has been very interesting. It's definitely really pushed me outside of my comfort zone. I don't really know what else to say about that book, except what the did I just read? For real. Like, that is the most what the fuck book I have ever read in my entire life. Okay, I need to chill out. Crazy. I felt like today when I finished it that I needed some help seriously unscrambling my brain, because I was like, I can never see the world the same again after this. Like, I just can't. Like, I'm forever fucked up now. Like, and I'm sensitive, but like, I think even people who are not sensitive will never be the same after reading that book. Now go do it if you want, but viewer discretion is advised. All right. I want to give a very special thank you to the Mostly Ghostly crew for supporting my channel every month through the channel membership. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. If you're interested in joining my channel membership, it's linked below with all the benefits of it. You get some cool things, and you'd be supporting my channel in another way, and I would be very thankful for it. All right. Also, if you want to reach me in other places, that's linked down below as well. There's a Discord that's free to everyone if you're looking for a bigger community of friends and book lovers. And then to end it all, I do want to say thank you to you for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Here we go again, you think by now I know better. Locked in my head, romanticizing forever. Last love I